How's it going, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim, and I wanted to give you guys a Cleanspark update. We've got a new analyst price target, and I'm going to get into this article here in a second, but first off, we're just going to check out the price target. And we have a $16 price target, giving us a 35% upside just about. And it was reiterated a few days ago as of this upload. And this is basically the article that goes into his analyst price target, but you will notice that we lost our $50 price target by the top. I believe he was like the top 40 out of 7,000. It looks like they must have taken down that price target. He must have decided not to cover Cleanspark anymore or something like that, but I digress. And I've got a couple of points here to get into with this article, and then we're going to check out the chart, and I'm going to give you a buy under zone and a support line to keep an eye on. But first off, he says the crypto mining contribution made more than 80% of the top line, 27 million in Q4, just a touch under 80% for the full year. So 49 million in total for the full year in crypto mining. And he goes on to say that, yeah, they're now a full-time Bitcoin miner, which in the earnings call, he also does say that the quarter was exclusively dedicated to Bitcoin, pretty much. That I believe that this obviously either came from Matthew Schultz or Zach Bradford. But they said, aside from the obvious shift in revenue source, management eliminated all doubt by clearly proclaiming on the earnings call last week, this was over a week ago, that Cleanspark is now a Bitcoin mining company, and we add an industrial one at that, exiting the September quarter at 1.3 exahash, exclusively dedicated to Bitcoin. Now, what they mean right here isn't that they're only dedicating their company to Bitcoin. I think this means that exahash was only going to Bitcoin. So I think the analyst might have misread or misheard what he said. So it means they're not also mining Ethereum. They're not also mining Doge. They're just exclusively mining Bitcoin with that 1.3 exahash. So the analyst says, what happens to the about $10 million in annual revenue? Because as we all know, they were flat. According to the executive team, it was more of supply issues. So that was the reason that they didn't expand their revenue, that they didn't increase their revenue on the clean energy side of things. Now he says that Cleanspark's energy business should be more of a wait and see approach. Although Didi does expect a sale of some sort next year and expects the company to discuss the matter early in 2022. So maybe he thinks they're gonna let someone acquire their energy side of the business or something like that, but I kind of doubt it. I think the reason that they were flat was, like I said, supply constraints, supply issues. I will definitely be watching them like a hawk and looking for any details about the supply issues easing up, but we will see about that. But I do expect their energy side to increase revenue, and this hopefully will just hit everyone from sideways and surprise everybody. But I do expect that their energy side of the business does do some great things and does increase revenue. This is my hope into the next quarter, into Q1 2022. So due to the fact that this is more of a Bitcoin miner, according to this analyst, he has more of a strongly bullish lean to the company, a huge profit from Bitcoin mining, the huge profit margin from Bitcoin mining due to the current environment's lucrative economics. He expects conditions to stay much the same through 2023. The fact Cleanspark has 2 Georgia U.S. facilities that boast highly attractive energy rates, less than 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And the analyst also thinks the company is planning other deals which complement the mining endeavors. The analyst believes energy generation and energy transportation companies could make a good fit down the line and will help Cleanspark shift to a more defensible position come the next halving. And that's one thing for you guys to be aware of, and I have said this before, that if they don't further grow their energy side of things, I will likely be out before the next halving. Okay, because this is going to make it exponentially more difficult to mine Bitcoin. Plus, we have more and more miners acquiring more miners. So more and more companies like Riot, Mara, even Griffin, Hut 8. I mean, they're all over the place. They are going to continue to add to their miners, and this is going to make the exahash harder. So for what Cleanspark currently has, say that right now it's 1.3, which I expect it is higher than that now. But say it's 1.3, and in a month or two they don't grow their mining side of things, and it just stays at that rate. It's very likely that rate will lower, just being that the difficulty level gets harder as more miners come into the space and come online. So that's one thing to consider. During the next halving, I think it will definitely be more difficult for Cleanspark. But another thing to think about is by the time the next halving is, what's the price of Bitcoin going to be? It's very possible that the price of Bitcoin by the next halving could be double in price. Okay, so that would kind of offset the fact that there's going to be a halving if Bitcoin is, say, sitting at like $110,000, $120,000. But that's just my thought. And let's wrap this up here. So he goes on to say that with a solid mining footprint, one of the most efficient mining networks we know at 1.3 exahash on the mid 40s megawatts of power, contracts in place to drive mining capacity towards 3.4 exahash through calendar 2022. The analyst rates Cleanspark a buy with that $16 price target that I went over, and investors could be sitting on returns of about 37%. I expect more than that over the next 12 months. I honestly do expect more than that. It wasn't very long ago that we just saw 20. And kudos to those of you that got out of it at that price. And oh, by the way, watch Matrix. It's totally off the cuff, but watch Matrix Resurrections. I watched it. It was a great movie. It's I feel like it's one of those movies, obviously, that you have to watch a couple times. Like, it just completely twists your mind around. I think it was a great movie, though. Definitely worth watching. If you have HBO Max, check it out. But that's basically it for this article. I think it should be a higher price target than 16, to be honest. I mean, we were just at like $21, $22, and then we pulled back down here to this level again because of the earnings and because of, my opinion, no growth on the energy side. They did make revenue on it, but there was no growth there, and there are still negative earnings. And of course, there was a little bit of dilution, plus the fact that they are paying the employees. Their employee payout is, I believe, $25 million, which that was like the revenue for this quarter. So their whole year of employee payments was paid for by this quarter. I mean, it's one thing to consider. That is a pretty high amount of money to pay employees. But just things to consider. Now let's get into the chart here. And as you can see, every time our earnings misses the EPS, now we did beat revenue, which is great. It's a growth company. You want to see the revenue increasing. But every time we get that negative EPS, it just causes the stock price to drop. We gapped down quite considerably, dropped down here to about that 1075, found a lot of support there and bounced. Did the same, didn't get as close, bounced again, and this is when we had that nice run. Kudos to those of you that got out right here at the top. Good for you guys. I didn't sell any. I continue to hold. But where it's at, I do see it as a buy zone. And anything under 12, even 12.50, you could say, I like this zone to buy, and I will continue to do so. But basically, that's all I got for you. Just a quick update on Cleanspark. Let me know what you guys are doing with your shares. Are you guys adding to your position now? Are you cutting your losses if you guys are negative? Are you doing some tax loss harvesting? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks as always, guys, and I will see you on the next one.